I mean, they weren't assholes. They were nice men, but they were hardcore.
Sam Elliott's voice didn't just echo through time, it defined it. That deep, gravelly drawl became the sound of American grit, the kind that feels like dust and whiskey soaked into the floorboards of an old saloon. Behind that thick mustache, the weathered hat, and that slow, deliberate cowboy stride, lived a man who carried more than just legend. He carried a lifetime of unspoken grudges. For decades, fans saw him as the calm, old-school gentleman of Hollywood. But there's a storm Sam's been holding in for years. Beneath all that respect and silence, he's got a list, 6 names, long actors he never forgave. Some crossed him on set, others disrespected the art of storytelling he built his entire life around. And now, at 80 years old, Sam isn't biting his tongue anymore. He's calling out names, and once you hear who's on that list, you'll never see them the same again. Let's start with the feud that burned hottest, the one that made Sam Elliott walk off a set and never look back. His target? None other than Kevin Costner, Hollywood's so-called cowboy. To Sam, Costner wasn't the real deal. He felt the man was all camera angles and costume design, no soul, no dirt under his nails. See, Sam's cowboy wasn't born in a trailer lot or styled by a wardrobe team. It came from real ranch life, early mornings, hard work, the silence of open land where your word and your grit were all you had. You can feel that in every line he's ever said, his voice carrying leather, smoke, and a lifetime of dust. So when Kevin Costner showed up in Wyatt Earp and later strutted through Yellowstone with his perfect posture and spotless boots, Sam didn't buy it for a second. To him, Costner looked like a movie star pretending to be a rancher, too polished, too pretty, too staged. Sam wanted raw, but all he saw was Hollywood's version of the Wild West. Sam once told a close friend, "He plays a rancher like it's dress-up." He said Kevin Costner was basically cosplaying a lifestyle he never lived. While millions were glued to Yellowstone praising its sweeping drone shots, its family drama, and its gritty tone, Sam Elliott wasn't impressed one bit. He'd sit back, arms crossed, shaking his head. To him, it wasn't the real West, it was Hollywood fantasy. Sam said it looked like a shiny postcard for city folks who'd never touched barbed wire, built a fence, or smelled cattle at sunrise. It was too clean, too scripted, too perfect. Insiders even whispered that Sam was offered a cameo role in Yellowstone, but he turned it down cold. His reason? He called the show a soap opera with a cowboy hat. That wasn't just a rejection, it was a statement. A big, bold message that Sam Elliott wouldn't sell out the spirit of the West for streaming hype. To Sam, a Western wasn't about fancy cinematography or long speeches, it was a code, built on grit, silence, and honor. The real cowboys didn't need dramatic monologues, they let their eyes, their stance, and their scars do the talking. Costner, in Sam's view, had all the gloss and none of the soul. Even when they crossed paths in the same room, the air turned cold. One producer who worked with both of them said, "They never yelled, but the chill between them could freeze the desert." But that was only the beginning of Sam's no-holds-barred honesty. Next on his radar, Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, the British superstar from The Power of the Dog. In 2021, Sam Elliott shocked Hollywood and fans everywhere when he tore into the film, and he didn't sugarcoat a single word. No fake smiles, no polished PR tone, just pure, raw truth. Sam said straight up that Cumberbatch was way too British for the West. He slammed the movie for being out of touch with what life on a ranch really felt like. He mocked Benedict's accent, his posture, even the way he carried himself on screen, calling it a prissy take on a rancher's world. And Sam didn't hide behind vague interviews either. He said it with the same thunder that made his voice famous, loud enough for Hollywood to stop and listen. Sam delivered every word like a man carving his truth into stone, slow, sharp, and deliberate. He even dropped that now famous line that set the internet ablaze. What the hell does this Brit know about the American West? He didn't flinch, didn't laugh it off, didn't back down. During that podcast, you could hear the frustration in his voice. He wasn't just criticizing a movie, He was venting decades of irritation with how Hollywood was rewriting the cowboy code. The moment those words hit the airwaves, chaos erupted online. Fans of Benedict Cumberbatch flooded social media, defending the power of the dog as a bold, modern take on masculinity. Others fired back, standing with Sam, saying he was the only one brave enough to call out what they saw as a hollow imitation of the West. Twitter, Reddit, and every entertainment blog turned into a digital shootout, opinions flying like bullets. Critics started calling Sam a relic, claiming he was stuck in the past, clinging to old-school toughness that no longer fit the times. Some said he treated the Western genre like it was his personal territory, locked behind a fence no one else could cross. They painted him as a gatekeeper, refusing to let new voices or modern stories reshape the narrative. But Sam? He didn't care one bit. No apology, no backpedaling, no press statement cleanup. He stood his ground, calm, stern, and unshaken, like a man who's already looked the storm in the eye and decided not to move. In his mind, the power of the dog didn't just miss the mark, it insulted the very soul of the West. To Sam, the movie twisted masculinity into something weak and performative, dressing pain up as depth instead of showing the quiet endurance the real cowboys lived every single day. He believed the true Western wasn't about fancy psychology or artistic metaphors, it was about truth. The unspoken code, the dusty silence between words, the lessons learned under a burning sun and cold stars. He wasn't trying to tear Benedict down personally. He was protecting a legacy, a way of life built on grit, loyalty, and the kind of pride you don't post about online. Insiders later said Benedict Cumberbatch never clapped back publicly, but the comments hit him hard. Behind the scenes, studio executives reportedly debated damage control, maybe a calm statement, maybe some soft PR. But Benedict stayed quiet, choosing silence over spectacle. Meanwhile, Sam stood tall, figuratively and literally, like a gunslinger who had already taken 10 steps, turned, and fired without hesitation. To him, the West wasn't a costume, a lighting setup, or a passing trend, it was real life. And he wasn't about to let anyone, no matter how talented or acclaimed, rewrite the truth that generations before him lived and bled for. And if people didn't like the way Sam stood his ground, he couldn't care less. He wasn't losing a single wink of sleep over the backlash. But when he dropped the next name, even longtime fans were stunned. Ashton Kutcher. Yeah, that one hit different. Sam Elliott believed Ashton had flat out embarrassed the craft of acting. To Sam, acting wasn't a popularity contest or a shortcut to fame. It was sacred, built on patience, discipline, and raw honesty. Every role, he believed, had to be earned, not handed out because of charm, followers, or viral fame. So when Ashton blew up from That 70 Seconds Show, jumped into easygoing rom-coms, and then pivoted to Silicon Valley fame, Sam wasn't clapping, he was fuming. He saw it as someone skipping the line, walking into a temple of storytelling without paying their dues. It rubbed him the wrong way because to Sam, acting wasn't about trends, it was about truth. Still, when they were cast together on Netflix's The Ranch, Sam stayed classy and professional, like he always did. He showed up, hit his marks, delivered every line with that trademark weight, and kept the set running smooth, at least on the surface. But behind closed doors, the air was tense. Crew members whispered that you could feel the chill when the cameras weren't rolling. Even when it was quiet, Sam would murmur under his breath, shaking his head, saying things like, "He's a good guy, but not a real actor." It wasn't Ashton's attitude that bothered him, it was what he represented. To Sam, Ashton symbolized the new Hollywood where algorithms mattered more than instincts, where social media buzz could replace real experience, and where charisma counted more than craft. Sam saw it as a decline, a slow erosion of what acting was supposed to mean. In his eyes, the art was being watered down by shortcuts, image management, and shallow storytelling that looked great on screens but had no heart behind it. Fans loved their chemistry on The Ranch, that dynamic of old-school grit versus easygoing charm, but Sam knew that was just performance, nothing deeper. Ashton played his part perfectly in public too, calling Sam a legend and praising him as a mentor in interviews, smiling wide for every camera. But deep down, Sam saw right through it. He respected the professionalism, sure, but to him, the industry had shifted, and not for the better. The world was rewarding polish over passion, and that was something Sam Elliott was never going to stay quiet about. Sam never echoed Ashton's praise behind the scenes, not once. More than a few times, crew members overheard him mutter, "He's acting like a guy who learned acting off YouTube." And he meant every word. It wasn't about jealousy or ego, it was about standards. The same high bar he'd guarded fiercely for over 60 years. Sam believed Hollywood was losing its soul, trading raw truth for quick clips, social buzz, and spectacle, all flash, no feeling. So while the ranch looked warm and brotherly on screen, behind the cameras it was a different story. Sam didn't feel a real bond, just tolerance. He showed up, did the work, and kept it professional. But there was no deep connection there. Just silence between takes and a kind of mutual distance both men seemed to understand. Then came another name on Sam's unspoken list, Nicolas Cage. The actor Sam once described as too loud, too wild, and totally opposite from what he called true power. Sam believed real acting didn't come from yelling or tossing yourself across a room, it came from the stillness, from a look that lingered too long, a pause that spoke louder than any scream. To Sam, acting was a kind of controlled fire, something earned through precision, not chaos. So when Nicolas Cage blew up with his explosive, eccentric style, the wide eyes, the sudden bursts of energy, the unpredictable mood swings, Sam didn't see brilliance. He saw disorder. He thought Cage's performances swallowed up everyone else in the frame, turning powerful scenes into a one-man spectacle. He once said it felt less like watching a film and more like watching a performance of himself. And that wasn't the kind of storytelling Sam wanted to be part of. Even when the two shared the screen in Ghost Rider, Sam kept things distant, polite, respectful, always professional but never personal. Their energy couldn't have been more different. In later interviews, Sam never said Cage's name directly, but the clues were there. He talked about actors who grab the spotlight like they own it, who make everything louder, flashier, bigger, as if subtlety didn't exist anymore. His close friends caught the message instantly. They knew he was talking about Cage. Sam even dropped one of his sharpest lines yet when describing him to a confidant. "He's more firework than flame. Big bang, no heat." That said it all. While Cage built a cult following on his wild, unpredictable performances, Sam stayed loyal to what he believed mattered most, the quiet craft, the kind of acting that didn't need fireworks to light up the screen, just truth, timing, and that slow, grounded burn that never goes out. Sam always trusted the kind of acting that pulled an audience closer, not pushed them away. He believed real power lived in the quiet, the kind of performance that made people lean forward, holding their breath instead of jumping back in shock. To him, Nicolas Cage represented a dangerous turn in Hollywood, a world chasing chaos instead of craft, shock value instead of story. Sam saw the trend spreading fast, flash over feeling, spectacle over soul. Cage kept racking up praise and trophies for what critics called brilliantly unhinged performances. But Sam didn't buy it for a second. He thought the industry had confused loud with legendary. In his eyes, no golden statue could cover up what he saw as empty theatrics. To Sam, real acting came from within, from stillness, honesty, and a truth that didn't need to scream to be heard. He believed Cage had long abandoned that path, trading depth for noise. But out of all the names on Sam's private list, there was one that truly stung, one that hit him not as an actor, but as a man, Jeff Bridges, the friend who slipped away. For years, Sam and Jeff were viewed as two sides of the same coin, carved from the same rugged stone, grounded, humble, and authentic to the bone. They didn't need fancy dialogue or dramatic meltdowns to dominate a scene. Their strength came from presence alone, the kind of quiet confidence that didn't need to announce itself. When they shared the screen in The Big Lebowski, fans could feel the magic. Their chemistry was effortless, like two old souls who just understood each other without needing to say a word. Off camera, it was even deeper. They'd talk for hours between takes, swap stories, share laughs, and trade lessons about life and art. Their friendship looked solid, built on respect, trust, and a shared love for storytelling that came from the gut, not the spotlight. But something changed, not with a fight or a betrayal, but with time. It wasn't sudden. It was slow, almost invisible, like a rope starting to fray one strand at a time. Somewhere between projects, fame, and new Hollywood circles, the bond that once felt unbreakable began to loosen. And for a man like Sam Elliott, who valued loyalty above all, that slow drift cut deeper than any public feud ever could. After Jeff Bridges won his Oscar for Crazy Heart, Sam started seeing small but sharp changes, the kind that sneak up quietly but hit hard once you notice them. The same man who once carried himself with unshakable humility suddenly looked like he'd stepped straight out of a high-end magazine. Jeff was posing for glossy photo shoots, rocking designer suits, and dropping bold political statements that made headlines more than his movies did. It wasn't the Jeff Sam used to know. It was a new version, one that looked more polished than personal. A close source to Sam said it best. Jeff became harder to reach, harder to read. The calls slowed down, the conversations dried up, and the connection that once felt effortless started feeling staged. To Sam, the raw, grounded honesty that once made Jeff a brother in spirit had been buffed down, replaced by something shiny, filtered, and controlled. The quiet cowboy code they once shared, the one that said, "Let the work speak louder than the fame," was fading fast. Every new photo shoot and red carpet moment made Sam feel like the old Jeff was slipping away behind the Hollywood machine. Then came the interview, the one that said everything without saying his name. When a reporter asked Sam about actors he respected, he didn't hesitate or dodge. He just said, "Some folks change." 3 small words, but they hit like a bullet. Then he followed it up with another quiet blow. "Others just show who they always were." That was it. No names, no follow-up. But everyone in the room and every fan online knew exactly who he meant. The industry buzzed instantly. People whispered that it was a clean, surgical shot aimed right at Jeff Bridges. And even though Jeff never fired back, no denial, no angry tweets, no interviews, the silence said more than any headline ever could. That calm distance between them spoke volumes, and it carried more weight than a public feud ever would. Before long, fans noticed they stopped showing up together. No more shared festival panels, no mutual shout-outs, no quiet handshakes at award shows. The brotherhood that once felt like solid ground had quietly cracked apart. For Sam, the pain wasn't about competition or fame. It wasn't about Oscars or political statements. It was deeper, something you feel in your chest, not your ego. He felt the slow, steady fade of a friendship he thought was unbreakable. The loss of a bond built not on fame, but on truth, respect, and shared values. And for a man like Sam Elliott, that kind of loss hit harder than any Hollywood betrayal ever could. Insiders say Sam didn't feel betrayed by Jeff Bridges. He felt left behind. Like the friend who once stood shoulder to shoulder with him had slowly drifted into another universe, leaving him watching from a distance. And that kind of silence? It hurts worse than any argument ever could. Sam carried that ache quietly, like an old scar he'd learned to live with but never quite forgot. But even that heartbreak couldn't prepare him for the final name on his list, the one that truly pushed him past his limit. Jared Leto, the so-called method gone mad actor who tested every ounce of Sam Elliott's patience. Sam's biggest irritation was never confidence or hard work, it was pretension. That loud, look-at-me attitude that turned the craft he loved into a personal performance instead of a story for the audience. Acting, to him, wasn't supposed to be a spectacle, it was supposed to be truth. So when Jared Leto became infamous for his extreme method antics, sending live rats to co-stars, refusing to break character for weeks, and turning film sets into emotional obstacle courses, Sam didn't see genius. He saw nonsense. He thought it was all flash, no feeling performance about the actor, not the art. While the world buzzed about Leto's commitment and award-worthy transformations, Sam sat unimpressed. He wasn't dazzled by headlines or trophies, he was irritated by the noise. To him, it all felt like acting had turned into a sideshow, complete with props, gimmicks, and viral PR stunts. Sam didn't just mutter his frustration behind closed doors either, he said it loud and clear. To one close friend, he once said, "If he needs that much effort to act, maybe he's in the wrong profession." And knowing Sam, he meant every single word. He wasn't trying to be cruel, he was defending what he believed in. To Elliott, great acting didn't need shock tactics, headline tricks, or bizarre on-set behavior. It needed precision, humility, and the quiet magic of disappearing so deeply into a role that people forgot it was acting at all. He believed true craft should never feel like a circus, it should feel real, human, and honest. Though Sam and Jared Leto never actually shared a set, insiders say they came close once during the early development of a project that never made it to production. And according to one insider, once Sam heard who the lead actor was supposed to be, he quietly walked away. He didn't cause a scene, didn't make a statement, he just stepped aside. Because to Sam Elliott, protecting the integrity of his craft was worth more than any paycheck or headline ever could. Sam actually liked the project. The script had depth, the director had vision, everything felt right. But the second he heard Jared Leto had been cast, it was over. No shouting, no press drama, no statements for the tabloids. Sam just quietly stepped away, packed up, and moved on. That silent exit said everything. It was his way of drawing a clear line in the sand. No gimmicks, no theatrics, no circus. To Sam Elliott, acting was never supposed to feel like a performance about the performer. It was meant to be real, grounded, humble, and alive with emotion you could actually believe. Every pause, every glance, every line was supposed to mean something. And hearing that last name, Jared Leto, reminded him just how far Hollywood had drifted from those values he'd spent his entire life protecting. At 80 years old, Sam isn't chasing fame or fighting for new roles anymore. He's fighting for something bigger, truth and tradition, the kind of honesty that built the craft from the ground up. He believes real acting doesn't need tricks or headlines, it needs heart. It needs restraint, purpose, and a respect for storytelling that doesn't rely on noise to be powerful. And if defending that makes him the last man standing, Sam's fine with that. He'll ride solo with pride, standing tall in a business that's forgotten how to be quiet and real. In a world obsessed with clout and chaos, Sam Elliott still carries himself like the last true cowboy, unbothered, unwavering, and grounded in the code he's lived by since the beginning. Now it's your turn. Which of these feuds shocked you the most? Do you think Sam was being too harsh, or just brutally honest about what's become of Hollywood? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if you respect real talk, and don't forget to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories that cut through the gloss and get to the truth.